Do you think it would be a good idea for Plain Township to enter into a Jedd with the city of Canton? Or maybe any Jedd with anybody?
I guess that's a very vague and very broad question. Ultimately, it comes down to what are the agreeable terms and conditions that will mutually benefit all parties involved. It can't be a win-lose. It's got to be, a win-win-win. And when I say win-win-win, I'm not just talking about whether it's Plain Township and the city of Canton, the city of North Canton, or any other neighboring community. All the other stakeholders that are involved in this, from businesses to residents. In some instances, there have been prior talks of trying to get an entertainment district up where the venue's located at. And there was push, we've got to get some CETA or Jedd in place here. The developer really wants it. When I got to the table with our zoning director and our law director, they didn't want it. They didn't need it. What they were looking for from the township was help with the traffic signal portion of things. So it all really comes down to what's the opportunity, who's going to be providing what services, and what's being received in return. So I'm a firm believer if we can create win-wins that are beneficial to everybody, all stakeholders, not just the government entities, then absolutely we do. We can't afford to wall ourselves off, but we also have to stand up for ourselves and push back if something's not going to work for us.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Rich?
Thank you. In order for Plain Township to enter into a Jedd with the city of Canton, it has to be right. I use the term, a win-win-win. I definitely agree with that. Mr. Haas brought up the venue, and that's a perfect example of where a Jedd would have worked and where it made sense for the businesses, it made sense for the residents, it made sense for Plain Township, and it made sense for the city of Canton. I obviously wasn't in the room with the developer, but when I look at it and when I view the Jedd that was created, just not signed, and it states in there, that the money that's going to happen, that the income tax will be split between Plain Township and the city of Canton, that those businesses, those 6 hotels on the mountain there are going to get city of Canton water rates, which is 80% lower than the township water rates. That's stuff that makes sense. And the developer would have gotten that traffic light, which he did get, but he got it out of the county TIF. The county TIF, took 75% of that development, of that new development, and those tax monies, and diverted it to the Zimber ditch and to that traffic control device. And that's something that could have been worked out and worked through the Jedd. And that's where TIFs and tax rates make sense, is when they're paired with the Jedd, so that it is a win-win-win. That the business gets this, incentive to redevelop and revitalize the area around its business development, but also the township's made whole through the income tax and through the development that's going on. And the businesses get certain discounts, with their water rates and with things of that nature.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Harley?
Actually, I agree with both of them. The Jedd, if we can't afford to have another situation with what happened with the Hall of Fame happen again, so we need to work and get a Jedd, because that also brings money into the township that would offset any kind of increasing levies of property taxes for us. If you drive down 62, if you go through all the, Oakland Plaza and everything like that, there's a lot of empty buildings. There's even, the Your Pizza Shop and that. If we could, even though that's more in the township, but we're going towards some of the city of Canton and the empty buildings that way, if we can just collaborate and work with them well enough and open those doors again that have been shut recently, we might be able to move forward to actually get some more Jedds into the township.
Thank you. Mr. Sabo?
For you to be able to develop a Jedd, the situation has to be perfect. 2 minutes is not enough time to talk about the complications of Jedds. If you have any kind of area at all that's already been established, and there are individual store owners represented, they have a say in that Jedd. So it's not as if you are only dealing with a single property owner. So it tends to become very complicated. So what makes this seem like it's a very simple thing that you just come together and you make it happen does not happen in a vacuum. So the ideal places to do JEDs are to do one owner property where the development starts. And you tell that developer or talk that developer into the leases that he writes, that he speaks for the owners of those leases. That way, when that happens, you are only dealing with a small group of people that can pull off how that JED is going to be formed. So having places that have already been developed are not the ideal places to do JEDs. Furthermore, it's like a marriage. If you have to have somebody that agrees to enter into the marriage before the marriage is going to occur. So for us, we try to work with individuals to talk them into whatever we can do to make that happen. But everybody has to agree to make it happen.